All right, welcome to another episode of not Daily Driven Exotic. Sorry, it's Precision Auto Works. The Detailing Diaries. Now it's episode 3. So I think people always want to know the $1 million question: how do I keep my car clean? And the one vehicle you never see is now going to be shown on this video. And as you can see, lineup as usual is not the greatest when it gets cold. People want all their cars clean. And then the prairies, it's not as clean, so you got salt everywhere in your vehicle. So if you ever saw the opening of the video or the vlog, then you see like salt everywhere. It's dirty. No one likes that. And obviously your car doesn't last well if it's actually corroded. So I'm going to show you the process how to wash it, what preventions you need to do, and basically it works for anyone, whether you're on the sunny skies of California or you're in Montana in America or anywhere else that has snow or salt. That includes you, Quebec, and the rest of Canada, so that Alberta and everywhere else. So we'll just wait until we get into the door. It's probably full. And how to dry it too, because some people are afraid how to keep their car clean, but they're like, well, if my doors freeze, what if my windows freeze, I can't go to the Tim Hortons drive-thru. But I'm like, well, there's certain measures if you need to do. I've been doing this for a decade now. Works fine, car stays clean, and you'll see when you look at my underside and the wheel wells after I clean it, it's actually very clean whatsoever. So stay tuned, watch, and then we will go from there. But the first part we'll do, so obviously it's the basics, it's just the washing. Keep in mind, my vehicle has no ceramic coating, still needs to be decontaminated because I do decontaminate every year. And I don't use a brush on my vehicle because brushes are just nasty. So people don't even rinse that in the car wash. But for me, I use a brush for mostly the tires and I think the underside, mostly my exhaust. But I always do rinse it off anyways, just as precaution. It's just a good habit anyways. But if you do have a vehicle, say you lease, or you just have a piece like a POS that you just don't care about, or the fact is that you just have no desire to clean whatsoever, that's okay. But if people have the nice cars, if you're driving the Audis, you're driving the BMWs in the cold weather, which is not built for here, but that's okay, or you just want to, this is like a car that you're keeping long term, then follow these steps and I guaranteed you'll be fine. Because otherwise no one wants to have to get a new vehicle every year, and trust me, it's expensive. Everything's expensive, nothing's ever free. And let's see how full the car wash is now. I hope it isn't full. Looks like we're entering the dungeon. But let's see how many cars coming out. Oh, there's one right there. This is the painstaking part. When the sign says not full, but the door is not open. It's like, well, whatever. As long as I get my car clean, that's all that matters. And that should matter to you too, so let's see what happens. 5 months, and then I probably took it out to stretch its legs. And I'm wondering why. Oh, come on. And I'm pretty sure if you threw water out in this area right now, it'll probably turn into vapor. And I'm not the first one to try that, so. Come on and visit Manitoba. We're probably colder than the North Pole. That's been confirmed already once time. What is it? Minus 25. That's what? I don't know how many Fahrenheit that is, but for American friends. But it's quite cold. Oh, and there we go. Doors open. Let's see. Let's see where we go. Alright. Now the fun begins. The car washing part. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to rinse off the brush and then we're going to start pre-soaking the car. And luckily my facilities have hot rinse. So I don't know about you guys if you guys don't have hot rinse in your area, but it definitely helps out to get the dirt out. So let's get going and then we'll go from there, each cutscene all the way through. So step one, you're gonna basically like just rinse it down or pre-soak it. So I usually do it on the pre-soak with soap, so it peels off everything. I don't know how your car washes work wherever you guys are. Basically soak it down and basically get all the dirt as you can, even all the big chunks of snow or salt, anything you can see basically means you can wash it or you can clean it. So do the best you can and then go from there. Obviously pre-soak. As you can see, I'm using the brush. Brush means either you can, for me, I'd say the brush is like sandpaper. It's like rubbing sand on your car because people use it all the time and they don't rinse it. So that's why you see marring marks on your car or like swirls. But for me, I rinse it off and I use it for one of two. So I use it from my underside and my tires and possibly my windows too. But like I said, I have to rinse it. But if I use it on the windows, I do it nice and gentle. Otherwise, you can still scratch glass. But like I said, if say you don't have a place to wash your car properly, B, you don't really care, or C, you have a lease vehicle or it's not yours, go ahead to your heart's content, at least rinse off the brush and then use it all in the car. But that's just my opinion or 2 cents. But I'm OCD like that, so that's why I wash it the way I do. Step 3, obviously, to rinse. If you ever notice both my rinse times, you'll see that I'll turn my wheels one direction and the other direction. Because why? It's better so you can get through the wheel wells, clean all your suspension, the wheel wells, and more importantly, if you ever notice all detailers, what they do, or maybe they may not show, they don't clean the backside of the wheels. Because why? There's a part where you're missing, is the calipers, where you hold your brakes. So if you don't clean that and you miss the dirt, and something you can even reach there just for a little bit, even your control arms, it's going to seize. It's going to cause more issues when you need repairs down the line due to the road conditions or your drivability. And then it's going to cost you more at the shop to get fixed. But if you keep clean like I do, and you'll probably see my vehicle when we do the walk around, everything's clean, and everything's clean, not seized, and basically it makes it easier for technicians, or even for you, for the do-it-yourselfers or the mechanics, basically do maintenance on your car and do any repairs. All right, step 4. I think it's step 4. If I'm mistaken, then that's probably the wrong one. Always make sure you clean your back wheel wells properly and very thoroughly, meaning make sure all the dirt within the wheel wells are gone. So even if you have fabric liners, which you'll probably see in another video down the line on the Acura, which you've probably seen in previous videos, they have fabric liners, so they hold a lot of dirt. This vehicle in this case just has plastic liners, so it means it peels off easier. And also for the fact you got to clean underside. So even if, as you see in me, I squat pretty low, like Asian squat, as Nammer squat, or whatever people call it. Basically, if you can lean down and you can aim the gun to see where it is, especially for an SUV like this, it's quite high, so then you can basically rinse off everything you can see to prevent any rust or corrosion. Even though I have undercoat, it's just the extra precaution to make your car just that more pristine and just mint. And also as well, like cleaning your exhaust, and then clean, same thing with how I said clean the brakes on the back end, the back side, the place you never see, you do the same on the rear side. Because why? The same thing is going to happen. It's going to seize, like especially the caliper bolts, or in the fact like your links or your suspension, your suspension, the control arm, same thing, it's going to rust. But if you rinse it, then it's fine. And also mainly, if you saw, I rinse off my spare tire in case I ever get a flat tire. It's not seized on there, it's not rusting, it doesn't take off. Like, it's easier to take off honestly than it sitting there all the time than not washed at all. But if say like, let's say for example you want to look at a car with a dirty undercarriage, I'm not throwing my cameraman under the bus, but if you go look at his Jeep later, and I'll probably do a zoom in later, that's like an example where if you're driving in salt conditions non-stop, all the dirt's there, it starts to corrode, and then your car doesn't look as nice. You might not see it, but some people, like if it's in the eyes of me, it might just be the same way. And then last but not least is the drying part. So drying, how I do it, I have 3 different rags. So there's one for my exhaust tips, and then the door jambs. 2 is for my what was it? Any chrome trim or like the badges on the car, that I use that, and then that's it. You want to wipe between the door jambs, all the cracks and crevices that you know the door is gonna get locked. Because otherwise, if you don't wipe it, it's gonna get locked and it's gonna freeze like this one. Actually, well, see, it didn't freeze there because I wiped everything. That means all the doors, all 4, your gas cap, because you need gas, because if it's frozen, you can't do anything. Your trunk, if you have a mid hatch where it opens the glass, wipe that too. And then just basically what else do we do? And the hood. I didn't do the hood because I'm not going in there. That's fine, it'll dry off over time. But anything that's accessible to you, you need to wipe it off, and that's it. And then usually what I do now when it's all done, if you live far away or close far away.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I'd say turn on your front defrost and your rear, just to keep the windows nice and clear and non-foggy. And you go for a drive also mainly for the fact to dry off your rotors, because if all of a sudden you don't drive off or just dry off your rotors and you go home and you park it, next morning it's either your wheels are gonna freeze, one of them's gonna freeze, and you'll have to like rock it back and forth to free up those wheels, and you don't want that. And how you would know if the wheels are free, like basically like dry, like the rotors, the disc, basically sometimes I just touch it very lightly with my finger. If you feel like it's warm, especially in this kind of weather, like -30 below, then it means it's dry already. So always do those. But you're also gonna see in the next few segments, you're gonna see this from, what's the February till spring. You'll see the progression of this vehicle. And mind you, the condition it is in now, I brought it brand new. This April will be 6 years old, and it still looks as if I just brought it home from the dealer. Minus from like the wear and tear, like the stone chips and all that stuff. But that's fine. But if you ever had to compare to another vehicle, you'll notice that it's a lot more cleaner and a lot more meticulously maintained than others. But that's only because there's only the small 5% of us that take care of it like that. So stay tuned for the next episodes. Like and subscribe in the video, and we'll see you in the next one. See ya.